Getting your first media coverage is a big moment, plus it makes Nana proud. We're going to outline the papers, TV stations and everything in between that cover new Knots music. We'll share details on features, insights on how to get coverage, plus where we can find it. We'll share audience numbers so you know who to prioritise. Through all this, we are assuming that your music isn't. Heads up one, a media coverage principle that applies with all media outlets. Angle. If you have an angle, an interesting story, a charity element, you will not only increase your chances of coverage in those outlets' music sections, you will open up the possibility of coverage in their main sections too. An album launch has a strong chance of a shout, and BBC introducing and mention in the post. An album launch trying to raise 10k for a QMC award, that has got front page potential. Heads up two, most of the entities we're going to mention cover all genres. The two lead contacts for music coverage at the Nottingham Post are EG editor Simon Wilson and entertainment reporter Rachel Gorman. The Post frequently cover local music. The money shot is the EG pull-out section on Fridays, where the Ones to Watch column is their key regular local music feature. They review quite a few local gigs too, and preview as well. Amongst the Post freelancer team over the last year, the most prolific on music has been Kevin Cooper. Web-wise, everything that goes in the paper also goes online. Plus, there's quite a lot of online-only content. Music tip: if pushing for your first Post coverage, maybe seek an online-only article initially as your foot in the door. Leftlion review and interview local musicians in every issue. They also do podcasts. Ways of getting coverage include our own Music Box feature, where two artists who've never been featured in the line before get their first coverage. The two-page music review section, which reviews around 10 EPs and albums every month. The Leftlion stereo feature, where a single that's catching their ears gets some love. Full page interviews, including the in-focus photo format. All of the above goes on leftlion.co.uk, which is the most visited music-related website in Nottingham. A web-only Leftlion feature you need to know about is the weekly article 7.32 Things to Do in Nottingham This Week, where they big up all the standout events of the week. If you make Leftlion aware of your gig and you have a strong angle, you could get featured. This link lays out all the ways to get Leftlion love. Details on Leftlion podcasts in the PDF below. Now, there are some really local papers out and about across Nottinghamshire, such as the Mansfield Chad, Nusic Advertiser. Traditionally, such outlets love a good local musical story in their area. Our PDF lists all the outlets we are aware of, whilst acknowledging the local media outlets of Papelwick are not our strongest area of expertise. We also mention regionals such as 69 Magazine, Q Childish Giggle in the PDF. There are many ways to get coverage on BBC Radio Nottingham. We'll get to BBC introducing in a mo. Mark Dennison, who hosts the mid-morning show, has a long-running history of supporting local music, including helping us start the New Music podcast in May 2008. Verity Cowley, who hosts Drive Time, worked on BBC introducing earlier in her career. BBC Radio Nottingham's Sunday evening shows for the local Asian and Afro-Caribbean communities respectively both play local music, be it made by artists from their target community and or artists making music with an Asian or Afro-Caribbean influence. Contacts on the screen right now. Another music tip: most BBC shows have a producer. The presenter receives all the hustle, while producers are actually just as important, so reach out to them as well as the presenter. BBC Introducing broadcasts Saturday night from 8 p.m. on BBC Radio Nottingham, Derby, Leicester and Lincoln. The yin and yang is you're competing against musicians from across the East Midlands to get on the show, but if you do get on, you get FM exposure across the whole region. Plus, you get on the radar of Dean Jackson, one of the most connected music industry humans in Notts, for film sessions which go up on their very successful YouTube channel, to get your music forwarded to national stations like 1Extra and Radio 1, to be considered for huge festivals like Glastonbury. The best way to send your music into BBC Introducing is via the BBC uploader here, physical address in the PDF. If you have a strong angle, you could get coverage on the Notts TV News any weekday. The money shot being Friday, where every week Notts Tonight features an interview and acoustic performance with a local artist. Contact producer Bobby Hall, whose contact details are in the PDF. The second Notts TV opportunity is Noise Floor, currently being repeated to fuck. There are aspirations to bring it back if we can find a sponsor. We will keep the music FAQs updated on that op, and we'll tweet at #OpportunityAlert if a new series is commissioned. You can tweet at Notts TV Direct if your rich uncle wants to sponsor the show. Please, rich uncle. Broadcasting on 97.5 FM since 2007 doing this, Kemet is the only FM station that broadcasts Nottingham content 24 hours a day. Nearly all Kemet's specialist shows, those on after 7 p.m, play some local music. They put on local artists on their daytime playlist too, and have local artists in for interviews. Brekkie host Jackie P is very open-minded musically and loves having artists in for interviews. She does not use Twitter, so email her a radio edit and make sure the subject line includes local talent. Email here. Other angles to get on Kemet FM include Tony Bates, the man that got Nottingham trending, Rastarella of Cultural Vibrations fame. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? If you have an angle, a very strong one, then coverage on East Midlands Today is possible. Their arts correspondent, Gita Penze, has beamed a number of Nottingham musicians into the living rooms of the East Midlands, and now you have her Twitter. Big regional stations like Capital, Smooth and Gem do not play local music. If you have a very strong angle, you might be able to get on their news reports. Declaration, music started on student media. It is very close to our hearts, and we could be a bit biased. Precise formats change every autumn, as do their key humans. Music tip, student radio audiences are normally small, but they are a great place for musicians to get interview practice. When the only person listening is the presenter's mum, this is the place to accidentally say fuck, not Radio 1. Plus, you meet the DJs and journalists of the future. The PDF gives the details of the student papers, radios and TV stations across Notts. I'm assuming you've heard of Nusic as you're watching a Nusic Advice video. You do know that's what this, man, we need to work on our branding. Yes, that is what this is. All the ways Nusic can help you, from podcast plays and live sessions to workshops and advice videos, are in the Nusic FAQ link. Across Notts there are many digital-only media entities. They do come and go a tad. I'm going to mention 3 online radio stations, then in the PDF we'll list out all the podcasts currently going that we are aware of. 1, Ngenius streams Nottingham music all day, every day. 2, NG Digital, headed up by Jason Loftus and Darren Patterson, an online radio station with shows that heavily feature Nottingham artists and cover local events. 3, Roots Radio, an online radio station covering Nottingham and some other place. Music sending details for all 3 in the PDF. There are a number of humans with strong Notts connections and or affinities who represent national outlets. Arguably, the best known is Dom Gawley, one of the senior writers at Drowned in Sound. A music nut, a forest nut. There is no one you will see out at more gigs in Nottingham than Dom. Bump into him, buy him a pint, and you could start the process that leads to you getting onto Drowned in Sound. But be aware, Dom is a proper, fully fledged music journalist who tells it straight. He is not going to write about you just because you also support Forest. Also in this vibe is the aforementioned Dean Jackson and BBC Introducing, who can feed you music through to national stations. The aforementioned Music FAQs share the deets on our unofficial connections with national stations that we forward music to. And in the PDF we've listed some humans with Nottingham connections who do shiz for national platforms, such as Andrew Trendle, senior news reporter NME, and that Mr. Jam bloke. Music tip, national media entities will not adopt the everything is amazing approach we at Nusic take. They could slate you. Remember that before sending that early demo. So in this vid, we are focused on what is most useful for you, defining useful as open to hearing from you, cross with have an audience to give you exposure to. Loads and loads of valuable details in the PDF below. Please do check it out. Plus, video 3 has more guidance on radio plays, as well as some principles that apply to both DJs and journalists about how to get their attention and how to increase the chances of getting coverage, including this key one. Remember, with media exposure, it really helps if you're fucking good.